So when I was a kid, my mom used to administer me some small sugary pills each and every day to cure I don't know what, because I wasn't sick. But my mom, well, a doctor to whom I went to every single month, used to prescribe me those pills to take each and every day of my life. Since I was like 3 years old till 12 or 13, I would take sugary pills each and every day. And the funny part is, like, nothing changed. Those pills were made with a repeatedly diluted extract of a plant that would make me have the same effect on me as the issue that I had. I was healthy, but somehow that doctor convinced my mother that I needed several pills each and every day. The good part was that those pills didn't have any side effects. Just imagine if I had been taking pills for like over 10 years and they were like disrupting all my health. That would be really weird, but no. Thankfully, those pills were just made up of some extract, which was diluted repeatedly, like 10 times. And then the pseudoscientist, would take like a drop of that and make the pills. So yeah. And now you may be thinking, how in the hell did your mother get into that trap? Because she's a highly educated woman who has the skills to, discern between something that's scientifically proven and something that's not. Well, she just admitted that. She just decided not to believe in science. Somehow that doctor convinced my mom that I needed those pills. It was completely irrational. It was some sort of blind faith. And I remember being like 8, and I would go up to my mom and say to her, like, "Hey mom, what are those pills exactly?" And she was like, "Oh, they are sugar, but they will help you because they have a thing that will cure you." And I was like, "What? Like, what do they exactly have? And what do they exactly do?" And then I just looked up on the internet what homeopathy was, and it turned out to be a scam. It was firstly developed in the 18th century because medicine was brutal in that period. Like in the 1700s, the solution to, I don't know, any infection or any disease that would be in the blood would be to just rip open the patient so that the blood would run out of the patient, so that he or she would be cleaned and purified. This practice indeed killed a lot of people. So not surprisingly, someone called Samuel in the 18th century decided to develop homeopathy so that people didn't have to, go through that. But he wasn't right, because you don't need a pharmaceutical degree to realize that it has no sense. Well, hey, I'm just gonna, give him the benefit of the doubt, because they were rather desperate to find solutions to the diseases that were killing many in that era. Basically, the pseudoscience that my mom bought into for years and years and years was that, for instance, let's just say I had a cough, okay? Which was the solution? Well, if you smoke weed, it makes you cough. Okay, so then weed must be the solution to cough. I know it makes absolutely no sense, but just bear with me for a second. If I had a cough and I would smoke weed, the only thing that would change in me is that I would be high. And that's not something that I want, or the doctor wants me to go through, because what the hell. So he would dilute the weed 20 different times in water or alcohol, which is also a bit concerning because alcohol is able to kill some of those properties. And then take a drop, make it into a pill, and administrate the pills to me. And I would all of a sudden be cured. But in the 21st century, I don't think there's an excuse to understand why this is something as refutable as science. And let's just not pretend that nobody knows about it, because it's estimated that between 2 and 300 million people in this planet Earth use it on a daily. And what I'm interested about regarding this topic is not the thing itself, but rather the position my mom held towards it and the behavior it sparked in her. For instance, I remember confronting her and telling her, like, why the hell do I need to, take those pills if they are literally sugar with water? And my mom was like, because they work, okay? You only think that ibuprofen works? Well, no. And I remember being like, I'm not implying that all medicine and big pharma is good. I'm just questioning, why do I need to take that pill? And the fact that I couldn't even question why was a bit concerning. Like, my 8-year-old self was like, what the hell's going on? Why am I not allowed to question the credibility of something that is supposed to be a science? I also remember my mom saying that it was everything black or white. For instance, normal medicine would be terrible, but her all-natural cultish medicine was amazing. But it had no result. It was some sort of blind faith that she had, because I would tell her facts about the topic and she'd be like, no, and she'd be defleeting. And she would neglect everything I was saying. I would tell her a fact and she was like, that's wrong. And I would tell her, no, but this article says this. And she was like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, okay, you're believing whatever you want to believe rather than the objective truth. And she was like, no, that's the truth. What I say is the truth. And it's like, honey, is it? She was dismissing all my criticism and everyone's criticism, even if it was just a question on the credibility of the medicine. Well, pseudo-medicine. She literally would reject science and would only befriend people who thought like her. And by that, I'm not implying that like big pharma is amazing and that natural medicine is just not true. That's not the point I want to bring to the table. I would rather bring a discussion on whether being a big fan of something that doesn't admit you to question anything is good or not. It was just a placebo effect. Now you may be thinking, Paula, why do I should care about your mom and her delusions? Well, you may not care, but if my mom, a highly educated woman who loves critical thinking and is highly skeptic of many things in the world, why does she has this Achilles heel? It seems to ignore all the knowledge she knows when it comes to homeopathy. Well, maybe we all have our own homeopathy. And certainly when I realized that my mom had an issue with believing something to be 100% true without even questioning it, and whenever she was questioned, she became extremely mad, I started to think, shit, what if it happens to me? What if it happens to you guys? We're all biased, but I think it's so disturbing to think that there are some immutable things in our mind that maybe are mutable. And we just deem them to be true and they are not. I am panicked about believing in something that maybe it's not a truth. Aren't you just panicked about believing something to be true when in reality it is not? And you just keep believing it's true. You just keep hitting a wall. You just, I don't know, keep repeating the same mistakes because you deem something to be so true and so right, but in reality, it is not. You just lacked the skills and the vision to look at it in a different way. I'm panicked by that. Are you guys? It's literally a placebo effect on steroids. You believe that something works, therefore it does. So let's just say my mom truly believed that those pills cured my cough. But science says that those pills cannot cure my cough. But my cough was cured. Was it homeopathy or was it my neurotransmitters? Because if you believe in something, if you believe in those pills, and you associate them with feeling better, your brain will literally make endorphins, serotonin, and dopamine so that you feel better. And that's the placebo effect, which is extremely powerful. The efficiency of the pill doesn't lay in the content itself, but rather in the relationship one has with it. How much do they believe in it? It's like a religion. It's literally a religion. If you believe that the pill will cure you, the pill will cure you. It makes you in love with the pill. And that's something really interesting we can all take from. It's the power of a self-induced placebo effect. You take something, you believe in that something, and therefore your brain is wired to make you feel that something. It's just a brain predisposition. It's like a confirmation bias on steroids. If you believe something, that something will happen. It's a scientific manifestation. This, of course, will not, work magically, but your brain is wired to reinforce your ideas. Therefore, if you believe that this tea will cure your cough and drink it, your brain will release those things that will make you feel better. Therefore, as I've mentioned, it's not the tea itself, but the relationship you have with the tea. And that's a really important teaching for us all, which is that we can change the relationships we have with things so that we can reinforce our great ideas. Because I don't think we should be loyal devotees of a cult which doesn't let us be critical about their teachings. But I think that we can learn from those cults. And one of the things we can learn are, as I've mentioned, the self-induced placebo effect. Just think about it the next time you're just going on with your life. And just think about the relationship you have with your environment. Because maybe if you did some tweakings here and there, you would change the whole vision of your life. And your brain chemistry would literally be altered. Placebo effects happen to everyone. We are all conditioned by our pre-existing beliefs and biases. We cannot fully erase them. But darlings, a little objectivity never hurt anyone. That's what happened to my mom. She wasn't being objective. She was driven by the fear of me being bad. So she believed the first thing that came upon her. The more we fear losing control, the more predisposed we are to follow our fears and our pre-existing biases. So yeah, don't be driven by fear and self-induce your own placebo effect on the things that you want to better in your life. Yeah, just here to say, on today, I believe today, the day I'm posting this, is on a Tuesday. Tuesday. I've decided that on Saturdays, I will post a longer video about a more research hard topic. And on Wednesdays, oh no, and on Thursdays, it will be a more, easy peasy, not trauma dumping, but what can we learn from societal things type of video. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice week, have a nice day, have a nice life, have a nice everything. And yeah, hope you're not getting yourself into a cult. Well, also, I learned, I'm here to recommend a book on cults that I read last summer, and it's so freaking interesting. It's called Cultish by Amanda Montel, and it talks about the language cults use to entrap people. Read it, please. It's mind-blowing.